phenomenal, the one and only football aficionado. Is he aficionado? Aficionado, one of them. Football genius, the one and only Tega Supreme.
Woo! See how I'm feeling?
I know, honestly, I just want
take a pen and a paper
And do what?
write down how you take notes.
Well done.
You will just come and be greeting me as if you woke up from the same bed.
All right.
Good morning, Lagos. How are you people doing?
We're fine. Thank you very
We're
much.
doing great. Arsenal fans, good morning to you too. All right, Lagos. If you'd like to be a part of the conversation this morning, it's easy. We'd love for you to be a part of this. You can start sending your comments now. Send them to WhatsApp, YouTube, and Twitter.
All right. WhatsApp is 0809-444-0981. YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Just type Smooth 981 FM Lagos and you'd find us there.
Okay, so you have our contact details. Tega is here. What are we waiting for? It's time for some sporting news. All right, the first stop this morning is
On corruption. Now, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Friday sealed houses of two Nigerian Football Federation top officials. Announcing the development on its Twitter page, ICPC said it has placed Pinnick's and Dikko's houses under investigation. Pinnick's affected mansion property is located in Parkview Estate in Lagos, while Dikko's house is in River Benny Close in Abuja.
Okay, so this is... I don't think that this NFF board have gone a day without one investigation into their finances or into their practices or another. It has been one after. I think they've spent more time fighting cases than they have running football. That's just what it is. And some of it, I'm not saying that people, the ICPC and the EFCC and every other C should not do their work. I'm just saying that at this particular point in time, you wonder when they have time to actually do any work. It's just one thing after the other, but these are investigations. Now, ICPC will not tell you categorically what the cases are. They're not under any obligation to divulge to the general public yet. But it's ICPC, so corruption is involved.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's the most details that we know for now.
And then of course they're selling of properties.
Yeah, they're selling of their properties as part of this investigation. More information will be coming out, but it's just a lot for one board to take. From the first term to the second term, how they can do it, I have absolutely no idea. But let's wait and see what this outcome be. They may be free again, or we don't know what happens next.
Okay, so let's move on to our next one. Rubio, Gasol lead Spain to second World Cup title. So Marc Gasol looked to the sky as confetti fell, some sticking to his massive shoulders, and then cradled and kissed the giant golden chalice that goes to the World Cup champions. Gasol got to bask in the championship celebration for the second time in 3 months, and this time he did it for his country. Tournament MVP Ricky Rubio scored 20 points. Sergio Llull added 15, and Spain won the World Cup for the second time by topping Argentina 95-75 on Sunday. We're talking about FIBA World Cup.
Yeah, this is not fair. So the Colonial Masters beat them again. Just like that. I don't like it. I had to take it everywhere. But it was just so bad. They're schooling them in basketball. But here's what it is. The Spanish team will tell you, the Spanish players will tell you that they were not the best team in the world at the World Cup. That's a fat lie from the pit of hell. They are the best team at the World Cup. I keep saying that the team is not having the best team at the World Cup is not necessarily having the best individuals. It's just finding round pegs in round holes. That's how simple it is. It can be it doesn't have to be a talented round peg. As long as he's an effective round peg in a round hole, he's going to do his job. And that's what the Spanish team had in every single position. They had good, effective players. They had the experience of the NBA. They had the experience of, in fact, they have the experience of the creme de la creme of the Euro leagues. So it's not like there's no way you looked at on that team that they did not have professionals, they did not have winners, and they did not have as much talent. But what was most important, they had each person playing its role. Unlike the US team that went there to flop. That people just kept pulling out until there was
so
nothing
sad.
left.
Mhm.
And I like what Kobe said about the US team. He said, you know, gone are the days when the NBA was producing players for only America. Now the rest of the world is catching up with us. You have the
I
Euro
know.
League doing so well, but you also have even the NBA draft now drafts players from, and they don't have to be young boys anymore. It can be a professional player drafting from some other league to the NBA. So they're actually creating talent. In fact, the French boy that led the riot against the USA, he plays in the NBA for good measure. He came there, learned your skill, use your skill to beat him. So I think for the US, a lot of people pulled out. Not enough players. They took too many guards, if you ask me. Not enough centers, not enough forwards. It was a very lopsided team. That crashed. The French also are in transition. That's what I will call it. So there was a struggle, but with the Argentines, they did the best they could on the legs of the veterans that they could carry them. But the veterans were literally on their last legs, and they're playing against the Spanish side that were in flu. So congratulations to Spain, but second World Championship. We can't wait to see you in Tokyo. This sets up for an interesting 2020.
Yes.
And that's what we're waiting for now. So the US are not the only ones that are going to come with bragging rights. The Spanish will be coming as a world
They'll be
champions.
coming up. Yep.
They're like, yeah, beat us if you can.
Catch us if you can. The next story now talks about boxing. Perhaps on paper, the unknown and untested Otto Wallin looked like a second conservative soft touch for lineal heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, but it turned out nothing could have been further from the truth. Actually, Fury won 118 to 110, 117 to 111, 116 to 112. But it was a dogfight all the way with palpable drama because it seemed as though the fight could have been stopped at any time due to the severity of the cuts. It was a good performance according to Fury. I got a good 12 rounds in. It was a great fight. I got caught in the third round on the eyelid, and it changed the fight completely. I couldn't see out of one eye. And then there was a lot of head clashes, and the Gypsy Warrior calls himself, and this is a Mexican Independence Day. Viva Mexico!
Yes, I like the way Tyson Fury just behaves. But what it is at the end of the day, with boxers like this that don't have a thick resume, you don't know what they are going to throw at you. So
I like that point.
so it's quite tricky to fight them. But I would say this: on a normal day, Wallin stood no chance against Tyson Fury. But what helped him was that cut over the eye, and that's it. But to show how inexperienced and how one-sided the fight was, even with one eye, Fury still got him. It made it really tricky. Don't get me wrong, because the eye just kept dripping. And at some point in time, the officials are going to say, you know what, let's not take this guy. But if that was a good fighter, Fury was out. But it wasn't a good fighter. So he did the best he could to make it look like a contest. At the end of the day, everybody, I mean, think about it, 117 to 110, 118 to 111. He was well beaten.
Well beaten. Not just beaten.
With a guy that had one eye. Yeah, doesn't make too well. But Tyson Fury is now saying that, look, he's using this as a build up to Wilder again, because they really want to have that rematch. They really want to have a go at it. So if you ask me, I would say this about Tyson Fury: great fighter. He knows exactly how to do the job to get his this. And I think he got 40 stitches for that cut.
Wow.
40 stitches.
40
Yeah,
stitches.
40. Yes. But he still ended up winning the fight. It looks like a good workout for me at best. Not really something testing. I want to see the Wilder fight. Enough of all this warm-ups.
Child's play. Child's play. Hello. We have a very august visitor in the month of September. I'm on fire.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to have you on the show.
Just to say very quickly,
Yep.
if that cut was on Otto Wallin, that fight would have been stopped.
Nah, I don't.
think
No,
so?
honestly, yes. And just to show you how worried he was about it, Tyson Fury's total demeanor changed during that fight. He's normally the playful, trying to be a
You
showman.
couldn't see.
He lost his cool. He lost that discipline, that's not discipline, but that playful side of him. He was genuinely worried about the possibility that that fight would be stopped.
Wow.
He couldn't
You know,
see.
and I still maintain that some other boxer, or if the shoe was in there, that fight would have been stopped. And this thing, he was trying to make sure that he didn't lose that fight by stoppage.
I think what it is should be told. I don't want to say, if the cut was on Wallin, the fight would have been stopped. It would be as if it was because the cut was on Wallin. No, it would be that the Wallin will not be able to see, and they would have pounded in black and blue, and the referee had no point than to just step in and stop the fight. Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think it's just the cut. Because I think that, they were worried about it because they kept looking at him like this eyes. But he was not a good boxer, really. If he were a good boxer, Fury would be on the floor.
Yeah.
We'll be talking a different story now. We'll be talking Joe Fraser, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali.
Talking about this, my body's doing somehow.
It's also important to contextualize that fight. That's Otto Wallin's first fight since he lost his father. So he's been literally out of action for a while. Now, yes, he may not be one of the top boxers in the world, but the fact that he took Tyson Fury that long.
Yeah.
Everybody assumed that this was going to be like quick work for Tyson Fury, and it turned out not to be. He's not somebody that should be taken for granted.
Too high. Right. He will not be there. That's my own. Too high, oh.
Well, it's the one that gave you reduced the eye that you used to see.
All right, let's go to some football. So I'll say the name.
Just read the story.
Former Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund sharpshooter Paco Alcacer, thank you, is hoping to hurt his former club when the two teams meet in the Champions League tomorrow. So Alcacer, who is 26 years old, joined Dortmund in 2018 after struggling to hold down a place in the first team in 2 seasons at the star-studded Barcelona.
Unfortunately, he couldn't fit in there now, so he's going to try and tell them, you didn't pick me and you picked one small guy called Ansu Fati. I'm going to deal with you. But yes, Barcelona faces Dortmund with their shaky, questionable defense and their questionable manager with their questionable performances. There's still just a lot of questions around the Barcelona team. You're not sure exactly what they are going to produce, and regardless of the fact that you see the stars, especially going forward for the team. And then you see some of the results and you wonder what is happening here. But they face a tricky tie to Borussia Dortmund. Again, Messi may not make the team. They said he's in training, but he's still struggling with an injury. If you ask me, I wouldn't risk him. It's the first game of the group stage. No point. Guys, stay home and rest. 5 goals. Griezmann did not have the best of his performances, but they had Luis Suarez coming off the bench so that Ansu Fati will not bench him, because there are many years between them. And if this boy is scoring like this, he may not make it back into the team as quickly as he'd like. So he came back to remind them, and his 2 goals were beautiful. The angles where he put the ball was amazing. Yeah. But they have that going forward, but you have to think of how they conceded their goals defensively. Again, Piqué going up front to go and score a beautiful goal. He showed sharpness, he showed good reflexes, and his ball watching. You just wonder if he knows the job very well. Yeah. So that defense, with that defense, I don't think they are winning Champions League. I can tell you for now. They may go far and entertain us, but that defense, look, if you're going to win championships, you're going to have to not concede as many goals. Regardless of the fact that you have players to score, there are going to be some where you will not score a lot of goals. Then what do you do if your defense is giving up goals? That's what happened to them last season and the season before. So at the end of the day, that defense needs to be fixed. If you ask me, I'll start from the manager. Fix the manager, which means fire the manager. No, I'll make it even better. Start from the board and fire the president, and then fire the manager, and we can take it from there. But in the Spanish La Liga, it looked like Barcelona was having a disaster season. But now you look at them, they're just 3 points off the top. Literally one game. So even if they're not in top 3 right now, they're not far behind. And this is a Barcelona so far without Lionel Messi. So I think they have hopes, but as local champions as usual, it is Europe, which is where they want to rule again, that there are questions. Yeah. All
right. Okay, so we have comments here. We'll take them when we come back from the break. We see you, but Ojo Oladele is really concerned as to your sitting position, Tega. He said they still don't want to see your face. All right, we'll try to do something about that during the break, but stay tuned. This is the Locker Room 981 here on Smooth 98.1. We'll be back shortly.
You see, I am on Google. You go and search me on Google.
Careful when you put your hand so it doesn't block the mic.
Can you see her?
Can you see?
Can you see
why
her?
we always relegate her to behind the?
Can you see her? I've done my work. Oh.
Every day they'll be wanting to see my face. All you need is my voice.
No, they won't see your face.
Then they should search Google. I have beautiful pictures there. I don't intend for anybody to see me.
Why?
And you don't, people don't know me. You don't know me at all. I think I woke up well.
Yes, you did this morning.
Well, please, you help me get a taxi ride to Lucky World. Immediately after the show. Eh? Why won't you get me a taxi ride?
I just want to answer no. It's sweet.
Okay, just answer no and get me a taxi ride. I don't have a problem.
To tell you that the power phone for the next level achievers is now officially available in
Come and see
Nigeria with
Uncle
two
Bubu's
options.
face.
Samsung
Uncle Bubu,
Galaxy
come and
Note
sit
10
here.
and the Note 10 Plus.
No.
Buy the Samsung Galaxy
Kiss,
Note
the
10
people
or
support it
Note
though.
10 Plus
Now that we're on
in
a
the
break.
participating stores
So that we don't
nationwide.
suffocate.
Get a free screen
As in,
repair
it's so
voucher and a
warm.
battery pack all worth 80,000
This is so
naira. Promo runs
it's
from
hot.
12th of
It's
September to
suffocating.
30th of September 2019. Visit
Thank you.
www.samsung.com for more details.
This is £72 million scam.
I won't call him a scam yet.
Well, let me post your videos.
Yes.
Let me see.
I think it's
What?
an overpriced.
What?
No, not you. I think it's an overpriced amateur.
Scam.
No, I see potential. It's not scam. It's capitalism. That's what it is. They decided what it
Hey,
is.
what's he saying the same thing now?
No, you're saying it's a scam. I'm not saying it's a scam. A scam would be selling David Luiz as an experienced defender. This guy has good potential. They just sold him for a higher price. Again, it's capitalism. It's like when they make a bar and they wrap it in that funny shape and then they now sell it for you at the price. Yeah, haven't you seen those restaurants where they wrap their bar in the beautiful shape?
Yeah.
I'm like, this thing is still a bar.
You're paying for the creativity.
Okay, now the creativity, now they do so. They said it was the package with South American creativity.
We're coming back home.
Eh?
We are back, you. Wow, your story is next.
Keeping it smooth on Smooth FM, your favorite station where you find good quality and above all, smooth music for your soul.
Mike is up. Studio is live. Because we love you and we thank you very much for staying tuned here on Smooth 98.1, we dedicate that little song to you. This is Locker Room 981 here on Smooth 98.1. I'm Ayo Mairo Ese.
And I'm Valentine Ohu.
And with us we have the wonderful Tega Supreme and of course the one and only Mr. Uncle Rubio.
Ajoku Peters, Ajoku Petrus on YouTube. You can assess the Gypsy King did it again, but that cut on his eye was really nasty, and I think Otto did not do enough even with the cut. After the cut, Fury was like, "Shoo, oh, this guy is serious. We did." Thank you.
And then everyone is waiting for the Arsenal story. So Ajoku is also asking that, Tega, I hope that you put the Arsenal story in this story. Then Emeka says, I doubt Fury is going to have the Wilder fight next. That cut needs a long time to heal. Otherwise, one punch from Wilder and it will open up again. Tyson has a huge target on his face. Everyone he fights will be trying to reopen it.
Open book. Rodri insists Manchester City will have to wake up following their shock defeat at Norwich. The Canaries stunned the defending Premier League champions as they won 3-2 on Carrow Road in the late game on Saturday, despite missing a host of first-time players through injury. I think we lost this game because of us, the Spain midfielder told City's website. I think they don't do many things to win the game. Of course, congratulations to Norwich. They play really good football, but today we give them chances, and that's something we have to look at ourselves and solve our mistakes. It's not normal. The 3 goals are mistakes.
I don't know who conducts this interview, but you have to interview the person that is most guilty, well, second most guilty of the problem. Because Rodri didn't hold his position at all. In fact, Rodri was the one weak link I saw in the midfield. Yeah, Sterling didn't have a good day, but Rodri was terrible. He gave the ball away one time too many. He didn't hold his position. He didn't do much going forward. He didn't do much helping defensively. So it's ironic that somebody put a microphone in his face and he said, we have to do more. Say Rodri, I have to do more, because they bought it for a reason, and I didn't see the reason on Saturday. Again, another defender that was questionable, of course, Otamendi. Otamendi and Stones were calamitous, but I mean, Otamendi's mistakes were more fatal
More superior
than Stones. And I would say this, I think sometimes because Stones is covering up for Otamendi, he also now leaves his place open. So maybe if he had a different partner, and with Pep Guardiola saying that Laporte is going to be out till January because of the knee surgery he had, and with Guardiola saying that it's not down to the fact that Laporte is out, that's why they are shipping in goals. I want to see how that turns out for them, because they don't have enough options, except they want to convert Fernandinho to a defender, and the boy's body is already breaking down. It's going to be a tough ask. Company's gone. There's no immediate replacement that you say would be able to arrange that defense the way it is. But what I will not take too much away from Norwich. When the chances came, they took advantage. And my guy Puki. Puki. Yes, it's a worry boy. But he knows exactly where to be, and if he's not assisting goals, he's scoring goals. An amazing guy that he knows how to run behind the defense. I don't know what happened to him this year, but this season. But if for club and country, he's just picked up that little extra notch. In championship, he did well. Don't get me wrong, but for him to carry it on to big games, comes to the Premier League and is delivering on the goods, and then transfer that form for his country, it shows that he's in a good time in his career. Amazing run by Norwich City, but truth be told, it was calamitous by Manchester City, not just defensively, but also with creativity, because they're becoming a little bit more predictable. Like, teams know exactly what to do. So except their top quality players are in great form for the day to outsmart and outplay you, then they struggle, and you cannot always be in great form every day.
And De Bruyne on the bench, what do you think?
I think for me, again, I wouldn't say Pep Guardiola was, if people said he was underestimating Norwich, I don't think that's what it was. I think De Bruyne is also struggling physically, so he has to manage him. He doesn't want that one that he was without De Bruyne for most of last season. He didn't find it funny. It wasn't pretty. So he's going to have to manage his body and manage him, because even when De Bruyne came, at first he was creating the ball. After a while, it was as if I run too much, something is going to snap. So he calmed down too. So I think they're also managing his injury, and they're not going to tell you the full extent of it. But a few players didn't have a good day. Regardless of that, if you have good tactics, if you're not as predictable, sometimes you should be able to beat just basically on your tactics. But sometimes teams just read them and pack that boss. And every time I've seen a Pep Guardiola team beaten like that, it's people packing the boss and beating them on the counter. From Barcelona to Bayern Munich to Man City. Same story.
Well, Emmanuel from Akoka says, Norwich City, we need past questions on how to beat Man City. Louise, Arsenal didn't know what we did to them. All right, so let's talk about Arsenal. So we have Arsenal captain Granit Xhaka saying that the Gunners were too scared as they let slip a 2-goal lead to draw 2-2 at Watford. I watched that match. It wasn't pretty. So Xhaka said, no one and we're happy to take a point. We didn't show our game in the second half. We were too scared. Xhaka added, every team in the Premier League is strong enough to score, but you have to keep calm, to show good character, to be mentally strong. We weren't today.
All the things that he was not.
I keep saying it. Who gives it
everything?
Microphone?
I mean, I'm watching the highlights of the game right now, and it's just so interesting that all the things he was saying, even in the first 30 minutes when we're 2 goals up, he was nowhere. the midfield lacked leadership in the first half. You had the fortune of having relatively experienced Ceballos, who was trying to take leadership in trying to win the ball, because that for me was the problem. Nobody in the Arsenal midfield took charge of trying to lead the press or trying to organize things. For great parts of that first half, even it was like Arsenal's midfield didn't exist defensively. There was so much room for Watford to just roam free. It was as if they were, they brought their they brought Arsenal guys there for training as training cones. It was a farce. Okay, you get the fortune of winning the ball on one of the rare occasions that you press, and you get a good goal. You get another good goal after 20 passes through. That's a platform for you to like take it to the next step. Then second half you come out and then you just become timid. Typically, this is the kind of game, if there's any positive that you take away, this is the kind of game that away from home last season Arsenal would have lost. So, and they came close to doing that. The managers substitutions befuddled me. It was I didn't understand. You took out Mesut Ozil, you took out Ceballos, and then Guendouzi,
and
then you brought two children.
I went to bring children from kindergarten.
Maybe he was willing. The way the game was going, maybe he was willing
here's what's confusing me. Everybody and his blind dog could see that the problem was Deulofeu overrunning, manhandling Eze Maitland-Niles. And then you had what's his name, the 72 million, as some people call it, 72 million pound scam, who wasn't even falling back to offer any protection. You didn't do anything to negate the threat that was repeatedly coming through. And then Ogbeni David Luiz and the Greek Papa just decided that Christmas was coming a little too late, and defensively, there's a problem.
Yeah, I think the first goal again. I remember last week when there was reports in British press that VAR has missed some chances that they didn't look at. I think the Arsenal first goal shouldn't have been a goal, because when the goal kick is about to be taken, the player from the opposition team shouldn't be in the box. VAR missed that. I totally agree. I think he made Socrates. I don't want to call his other name. It makes me bite my tongue. Socrates actually did make a mistake, but Deulofeu's goal shouldn't have stood because he was already encroaching. However, that notwithstanding, it was not, barring VAR call, it was the lack of concentration and focus that we should question, because even Socrates understood that he made an error. So whether the VAR would have ruled it or not, it showed that he lost his focus. And then David Luiz, for the love of me, he comes in and says, "I want to bring Arsenal titles." You can't win them game. You want to win titles, long.
Oh my days.
We'll be here.
People are going off on. We have so many.
Let's take the message.
All right. So Ugo says, instead of me to support Arsenal, I'd rather forget football and concentrate on Ludo.
It's even cheaper. Sheriff Oluwaleke Akinbi says, "Tega, please, which style of football is Arsenal and Unai Emery playing? Because they spoiled my ticket yesterday. I wanted to use the money to buy Oppa for you guys in the studio. I think Emery should be asked questions about his tactics, substitution and lineup. Playing inexperienced players in an away game in this crucial moment of the game shows he's not ready for the challenge. He should go. I'm tired already."
Are you already tired?
No.
Look. I'm sorry. His decision making in substitutions yesterday just took anybody who had any sort of goodwill or wanted to give him time. It was befuddling. I don't understand it.
All right, so MI from Makoka said, "To here is David Luiz. I mean, he has the best job in the world, gets paid weekly to sabotage his own team. Chelsea, I see what you did there to your rival London club by getting us a Trojan horse. I don't think we bought Pepe Dem Gang or even Atarodo. This one, Natilo good dancer for peace. Inside life."
Honestly.
And then Ayo says, Xhaka said that. Idiots.
And then Tony from Coca says, "Up Luis from the other side of London, selling him was the best thing Lampard did for us, I must say." And then Biggie from Ketu.
Why is Arsenal defense like this? Doing pass one, pass two on the 18-yard box. Are they playing monkey post? Nicolas Pepe. If you use him to cook soup, your mama will not eat it. So I can't see what's going on.
You guys are honestly.
No,
Thank you
no,
so
no.
much for your comments. Thank you, Tega. Thank you, Brutalistics. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, that's all we can take at the moment. Fantastic conversation, guys. But join Tega. I'll continue following her throughout this week at Tega Supreme on Twitter and find out the work she's doing with ladies in sports at LIS International. Also, Brutalistics is on Twitter, very fiery there at Brutalistics. Find out what he's up to as well. And for matches, please follow both of them. Interesting banter, and use the hashtag Locoru901 so we can track them as well. All right, Lagos, we'll go on a break at 9 o'clock. We get talking in Lagos Talks 981. Nicolas Pepe.
See what